Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Chad M back here with Bethubb.com once again with the most highly anticipated video segment of our website, which is none other than the top 3 NFL selections on a weekly basis. We got the gold, silver, and bronze style going on here. Last week I delivered with the guaranteed winning record going 2-1. Truth be told, we could have gone 3-0 if it wasn't for Pittsburgh's last couple of minute meltdown with Antonio Brown acting like a complete putz with his fumbles. Before we get into this week's picks here, I do just want to apologize for a little bit of a delay with this video getting out here on Saturday afternoon. It's been absolutely hectic here in the holiday season. And, there was no Thursday nighter this week, so there wasn't quite the sense of urgency to get the video out earlier in the week. And just a bit of a precursor, next week, the final week of the regular season, I will be out of town, so I won't be able to provide the weekly video that you guys have seen all season long, but I will still provide a thorough written explanation to all my picks, which you can check out on the website as well, and I'll throw it out there on Twitter and Facebook. So like I said, last week the 2-1 record got us back over the hump and over 500, something that I take tremendous pride in and expect to have the positive momentum spilling through into the final 2 weeks of the regular season. So let's get straight down to business and get on track here. My #1 overall selection, my gold pick in week 16. I will go back to the well one more time with a team that did not serve us any justice last week, and that was the Pittsburgh Steelers, because this line is way too short, and I'm absolutely shocked at all the money that's pouring in on the Cincinnati Bengals here, going on the road in a very, very difficult spot for them. Now, I understand Pittsburgh's played atrocious the last number of weeks, losing 4 out of 5, but anytime I can get them at a field goal or less, it's definitely going to intrigue me on their home field, no matter who the opponent is, especially when it's someone like Cincinnati, who is a good team, but they're not a great team. And I understand there's a little bit of juice attached to this wager here, but I think it's warranted because the Steelers always come up clutch on their home field, especially now with their backs against the wall in a very important situation here. I just don't believe Cincinnati's quite ready to step up to the plate and win one of these big-time games. It's not a coincidence that they are 0-8 combined the last 2 years against Baltimore and Pittsburgh in their division. These teams are always going to be the cream of the crop in the division. Cincinnati has not been able to get to that level, and I don't expect things to change here. Pittsburgh still ranks 3rd in overall defense and points allowed. I understand Cincinnati has the big playmaking ability with Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is running the football well, but I do believe in this hostile environment going on the road. Pittsburgh's going to play their best game of the year and come up clutch and shut them down. And I do believe that Pittsburgh's offense will continue to play well like it did last week. It got off to a slow start, but we saw what Big Ben was capable of doing once they trailed in the game, was able to throw the football a little bit more. We heard all these rumblings about him and Todd Haley not being on the same page. It looks like both of them apologized and are looking to wipe the clean slate here. And they know that they control their own destiny. I didn't even know going to that game last week against Dallas that if they lost, they weren't finished. If they win their last 2 games out, they make the playoffs, and I expect them to be clutch here on their home field. I don't see Cincinnati stepping up. You look at a lot of their wins this year, much like last year, they don't really step up well in class. They beat up on a lot of these poor teams in the NFL. When you look at last week against Philadelphia, they played okay, but not great. They were handed that game due to Philadelphia's ineptness and turning the football over way too often, giving them short fields. And for long stretches of that game, they were actually getting outplayed. So look for the Steelers to come up clutch on their home field, lay the short price, and roll with the Steelers as my #1 overall pick here in week number 16. We move on to my second overall selection, which is always going to be a dangerous wager when we're taking the Dallas Cowboys. I know a lot of people are going to rip me. They're going to call me a sucker because I've had so many of these picks on Dallas on their home field, and they always seem to screw me over. But I really do believe here that they're playing good football right now, and New Orleans is not a worthy candidate here to pull off the upset. And anytime you can get Dallas laying under a field goal on their home field against a losing team, I think there's some value in it. They're not having to lay over a touchdown, where if they have their standard lethargic starts and they rally hard from behind to win at the end, that you can't cover the number here. No, if they win straight up anytime you're laying under a field goal, that means that you're going to get the cover on the point spread most of the time here. The line's bumping around 1, 2, depends how much juice you want to lay. And the reason why I like Dallas so much here is they have a far superior defense. Yes, New Orleans can throw the football downfield, but so can Dallas. We've seen this offense absolutely on fire the last number of weeks, for the exception of that game in Cincinnati where, Cincinnati's defense has been playing real well in that matchup. But they still came up with the clutch plays late. I like the way Romo is not turning over the football. New Orleans is not forcing a lot of turnovers. I guess they did against Tampa Bay last week, but that's a team that was trending on the wrong direction direction there, having lost 4 games in a row. They're on their home field here. You can see the offense is much more balanced with Murray in the backfield there. It allows them to use the play action fake a little bit more. Des Bryant is playing through his injury. Jason Witten's a beast. Miles Austin is finding ways to get open. That offense is clicking on all cylinders. Their defense isn't great, but it's coming up with clutch enough plays. We saw what they did last week against Pittsburgh at the end of that game with the turnover there to Antonio Brown. I guess that was more special teams, but then in overtime, Carr with all that money, finally showing what he's worth in overtime with the big interception. You look at New Orleans, and they're just have never been great on the road. They're 2-5 this year, and even in the years when they were good and Super Bowl contenders when they won, they're a best of 500 team. I think that there's not quite as much motivation for them. They know that they're not going to make the playoffs, and their defense will not be able to stop Dallas. And when you look at them here, the spot does not look good for them. I think Dallas rises up to the occasion. And Brees just hasn't been the same this year. He's turning the ball over way too often. He's forcing balls in there when they fall behind early. I like the Dallas Cowboys laying under a field goal. I also think this is going to be an absolute shootout. I lean a lot to that over a 50-50 when I see Dallas scoring at least 30 points and New Orleans scoring in the 20s. So go up and over the total. It's not one of my official selections because you guys know I'm backing away from my Tommy total selections, which have burned me the last few weeks. So those are the top 2. We move on to the bronze selection, my 3rd overall pick. And it's definitely a recipe for disaster when you look at laying road favorites in the NFL. But you know what? I cannot resist here taking the Chicago Bears laying only 5 points at Arizona. And the reason here is I actually believe there's some tremendous value. Let's not forget, this Arizona football team had lost 8 in a row prior to last week. And the Detroit Lions were an absolute fragile mess and had no business laying that point spread on the road. So what the odds makers are trying to tell you is that they perceive Chicago to be the same team as Detroit was heading into that matchup last week. And I don't see that being the case whatsoever. Chicago is a better football team than the Detroit Lions. The record indicates it. And the way they're playing, too. I mean, they've lost a lot of tough games recently. They've been going up against top-notch opponents. And what made Chicago successful early in the year is the fact that they were creating a lot of these turnovers, and that happened against a lot of bad teams, Jacksonville and Tennessee. We remember those blowout wins on the road. Well, you know what? I put Arizona in the same category. This is a top 5 ranked defense. They should be able to force some turnovers against Ryan Lindley and take advantage of that. And when you look at Arizona last week, it's not like they marched down the field on Detroit and got all these points. Out of the 38 points they scored, the longest touchdown drive they had was 25 yards only. Detroit handed them the game. Chicago won't do that. They understand that their season on the line here. I think that they've been feeling a lot of pressure from the home crowd with the Boo Birds coming out. I think you take them away from that environment, put them on a road there, and they're going to really bond well together and play a top-notch road game. And I look at Arizona to revert a little bit more to what we've expected of them the last 8 weeks. I think that after that embarrassment in Seattle, they had to play a better game at home and get a little bit more emotionally charged up. I think they come back down to earth. I think Chicago realizes that now this is a weaker opponent and they are going to be going full metal to the pedal or pedal to the metal here in this football game, and I see them blowing them out here on the road. So those are my top 3 picks. I understand that I'm playing on 3 favorites that need these victories here to give themselves a chance to make the playoffs, but I think it's all warranted in these prices. So just to recap here, I absolutely love the Pittsburgh Steelers as my top pick, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Chicago Bears. I absolutely love this card. There's a lot of other plays. It was very tough for me to decipher which ones would be the top 3 selections. So if you guys want to check out more of my opinions and wagers, make sure to check out the picks page on Bethubb.com on the sports blog side of things, and you can see them posted there. And of course, you guys can get your action, and who doesn't want to? It's holiday season. Everybody's got a little bit of extra cash laying around right now, and you know that you want to be in that festive mood and be wagering on these games. So check out the link below, bethubb.com. If you already have your account, fantastic. You know the fun that you're having on the website, cashing on some of the bonuses and all the contests we're having. If you don't have an account, start up right now. Get involved. Challenge your friends. Create whatever bets you want. Get a little bit of trash talk going on. Check out the new layout and have some fun. And of course, guys, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's, and enjoy your holiday season and have a fantastic time. And make sure to keep checking in with us as the video segments will be back up and running in the new year.